before this call, we prepared some demos, just video demos so that we can walk through it. And then I can also show live demos of the same screens that I have shown in the presentation. Well, as many of us know, that generative AI is a big market. There's a bit of a hype cycle here in terms of estimation of this. Sometimes I get a number of 1 million, 1 trillion, 2 trillion, but I think realistically it's in about $300 to $400 billion overall market. This is on the TAM side, and I think the serviceable addressable market in the space we're operating is close to about 25 to 30 billion at this point in time. We focus, of course, there's an element of sustainability around generative AI and specifically what Explore does. And we can also talk about a little bit on how there are direct economic benefits of how information access, especially in countries like Indonesia, Malaysia, etc., and including India, have dramatically changed the economic profile of the workers in this particular countries as well. We know some of these stats. I think all of us are predominantly knowledge workers in some form and shape, so some of these numbers are not new. But just for this, for the sake of making sure we're reiterating it, it's a significant amount of time that is spent. One of the very interesting phenomena that's happened in the last 5 years, especially during COVID, is hyperfragmentation of applications and apps. And that's one of the areas where companies like Explore come in, where we focus on impact. So you have tools, data already lying in not only in on your systems, but also in your SaaS applications as well as in information silos. And Explore can help in supporting extracting that particular workflows. So again, it's a full stack we have built. Again, it's a young company, but we have been adding more and more on this. However, we are since we are focusing on mid-market segment, we have to be comprehensive in some form and shape. That means allow for data to be integrated, taking care of security, integration with many different data sources. At the same time, looking at very specific workflows, which are on certain industries as well as on certain use cases. Again, a few of the other things we have done, making sure that we also support what is called multi-agentic workflows. At the same time, we leverage a combination of our own models we have built over a period of time, as well as models which are outside. The genesis, the proprietary stack of Explore is actually not from the LLM side. It's actually on the vectoral indexing side. We spend a tremendous amount of time looking at how do we index information in the enterprises, how do we make sure that's retrieved in the right form and shape, and then leveraging LLMs to augment that information and generate insights out of it. And again, we have while we have been building some of our own SLM capabilities, we have been leveraging that capabilities across different open models as well, and then updating our models technology as well as some model capabilities as the LLM space itself evolves at the same time. We have further induced things that are knowledge graph, for example, where we're able to do very complex query expansion, which allows us to then work on very specific industry use cases, which are very unique in those particular industries, or terminologies which are very unique in those particular industries, and then use those expansions to be able to query and extract information. If we see overall focus area, so we focus primarily on what is called a high complexity knowledge space, moving closely towards high complexity workflow. So most of our focus has been on making sure we're able to extract and do very complex knowledge extraction and analysis for businesses. Looking at this point in time, what we call low complexity workflows, and then we're moving slowly towards high complexity workflows, which require planning and reasoning as well. So the areas that which our platform can impact across 4 verticals that we started off from: digital consumers, software providers, tech, and MSPs. Some of the areas which are very low hanging fruit, very obvious, you would say self-service, customer support, but in this area as well, there are many different layers in customer support like L2 and L3, which is where we focus a lot more than the traditional generative AI solutions, which are more L1 driven. One of the areas that we have got a lot of traction is in financial services, where our systems have been able to extract information in very high fidelity models, as well as actually process that information to generate insights, and which is where we are going further and actually doubling down. And given our backing with Temasek, we have been able to get in very deeper inroads in both in terms of data as well as knowledge, which gives us a bit of unfair advantage. So this is why the blue area is where we spend most of our time on building capabilities as well as our system and software as well. Again, this is just a very quick overview of agentic workflows, which has been helping driving some of these use cases, especially the complex use cases on extractive knowledge as well as on generative insights, basically. Our approach of implementation is pretty straightforward. It's a cloud-based solution at this point in time. Thankfully, most of our customers are comfortable working with us due to security that we provide out of the box, so making sure we're compliant from a ISO and SOC 2 standpoint. The other reason is also because some of the most of our clients are comfortable working with foundational models, which of course are not hosted in their environment. Which means if we give them a proper tenanted with data security and isolation in place, they're comfortable working directly on our platform. It's not a completely self-service system at this point in time. So we have to work with each of our customers, understand the requirements, look at generally a proof of concept for maybe a month or two. It's pretty quick turnaround in most cases, and then executing, implementing where they actually buy, sign up on a platform and then use this on an ongoing basis. So what we'll do is we'll quickly show a few demos on how the product works. I'll focus on a couple of areas and then we can dive down into some of the Q&A as well. So this is one POC we have done for a global company where we're actually looking at bringing in more semantic, more high caliber search technology on across federated search on different data sources, but also providing them very high grain control on how they can control and manage the search while also doing what is called code generation extraction, which means that we can actually extract codes, understand codes while the search is actually happening.
Hi everyone, Sean from Splore here. Today I'll be speaking on the Splore solution for DocuSign. In our solution, we have ingested data from multiple sources, such as developer documentation, blogs, and community pages. This has enabled us to offer a federated search with clear and concise facets for simple filtering. Let's dive a query, shall we? Here we're able to see that the first query already gives us the result that we want, as invitations expire after 30 days. Let's try this with DocuSign. Unfortunately, we're unable to get the same form of result. Let's try something a bit more semantic, something with a typo. In Splore search results, we are still able to see a high level of relevancy, as all results shown talk about authentication. However, on DocuSign,
Juros, just want to check with you if you find it blur or is it for me?
AI overview to effectively communicate relevant information to the user, even highlighting code snippets. We foster an improving solution, enabling users to fine-tune ranking profiles and improve results through clear feedback loops. Not simply just a search engine, leverage Splore's AI capabilities internally as a knowledge engine for your employees. With clear sources for accuracy and evidence, we wish to provide confidence to your users with AI. Or integrate Splore as a customer support agent supporting Layer 1 and Layer 2 questions. We want to relieve workload from your staff and enable them to perform better, giving them more opportunities to work on high priority tickets and allowing you to have greater cost efficiency and revenue generation. Integrate our solution into your website, enabling semantic queries and a better user experience. That's all for now. We hope to hear from you soon. Thank you.
So this is a simple way to show that it's actually a single platform, and it doesn't matter the means in which the information is extracted. Could be on your website, could be via APIs, could be plugged into a chatbot, could be as a knowledge desk sitting within the companies. So a single platform, a single way to extract can actually go across many different forms. And of course, depending on the medium in which information is done, we can tailor this so that we can ensure that the right kind of contextual information is shown at that point in time, while actually maintaining things around explainability, guardrails, and so on and so forth in the entire process that we actually do. So we have similar examples we have of, oops, sorry about this. Yeah, I'm just going to share my whole screen here so it's easier. So similarly, we can show you how fine-grained control we can do in this process in terms of control on the systems, the knowledge, etc. We are also able to provide them with a very complex analysis of extractions as well as.
The time is up. The time is up for the presentation. Let's explore Q&A from the Juros now.
We have interesting work, but what is your core innovation? Have you built this cognitive search engine yourself or what?
Yes. So yeah, so the entire pipeline for cognitive search extraction, as a matter of fact, the extraction is where we spend a lot of time on understanding knowledge, structuring the knowledge. So that's the enterprise don't really need to do this. We are able to do that entire process ourselves. One of the examples, for example, in financial services, as we'd all know that.
We have just give me a pointed answer. So is your backend is Microsoft Cognitive Search or
Oh,
symbol
no,
on what's the
it's
next level?
in-house.
So you have built,
It's
your
in-house.
own.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So
Okay.
the entire search
Okay.
stack is in-house. As a matter of fact, the
Okay.
query inference model is in-house, where we do query inference expansion, that's in-house. We do use open foundational models, but they're generally at summarization and at the last mile rather than at the core pipeline level.
Okay. Thank you.
I have a question. So it's not clear to me how easy is it to customize your solution? And in general, kind of what is your business model? Is the business model that you are selling a product that customers can customize by themselves, or are you selling a consultancy? That
So
you
we
have some platform that you can actually customize to different customers.
Yeah. So we are primarily selling a platform and subscription service. It's a SaaS solution where we do provide customers a dashboard, a very comprehensive dashboard where they can change, fine tune, add more data sources, change how the information is shown, so on and so forth. But there is an element of consulting at this point in time, which we don't call consulting, but implementation, where we do sit down with them, understand, right model selections, maybe training as well. We do benchmarking with them initially to make sure the results are correct, validation, and then at some point in time we hand it over. We do have human in the loop plus real-time training capabilities built in a product, which means that the customer's responses, you have seen some of in the screens itself, help or train this, etc., which allows them to train the model back, means we're giving them more and more control. Once implementation is done, they don't necessarily need to come back to us. They can continue using the systems, the workflows, but of course, if they have new requirements saying, I want to do something dramatically different, I want a whole new use case, which is not something we had worked with or signed up with before, they can come back to us, and our implementation team can help them support on implementing that workflow on the system. So it's like, think about it like Salesforce, where of course there's a plain vanilla simple system, but you do generally need implementation engineers to make sure it's working for your enterprises in the workflow in the manner that your current sales process works. So it's in that same process. We also work with them to fine tune the models before it's rolled out.
So then kind of the question is this something, how does it scale? Suppose that you have like 10,000 customers.
So our average ACV right now is over $50,000. And our yearly cost is over $25,000 for the platform. So it's not a $100 product, $200 product. It's actually a much high value product. This is also because we don't target the SMBs. We don't target consumers. Ours is a mid-market product, mid-market and above. Some of the demo names you have seen is actually real pilots we're doing at this point in time. We are looking at converting at least a few of the names that we have shown as well in the demo. And they're significantly large names with much higher budget of 6 figures and above.
And then, of course, kind of I have been asking these questions to others as well, but it's especially kind of important in your case because you have question answering. What about hallucinations?
So, I mean, it's many of you would know that RAGs are becoming more and more prominent and are actually a very mainstream way of consuming information. As a matter of fact, if you see the latest version of even ChatGPT 4 or the consumer version, the desktop version, not the API models, are actually just glorified RAGs in all form and shape. What it means is that the information is constructed based on a very well-defined set of knowledge and information, where the generative capability of the LLM is not used to induce new information. What this means is that we don't actually generate information or knowledge from the language model per se. We actually extract that using a semantic search technology that we have built in, which means that the information is restricted to the knowledge sources and information or data sources that the enterprise, in our case, because we are a business-focused company, define and say, yes, this is the right set of information. This is the right sources that we care about. This could be internal, like SharePoint. This could be Google Drive, just files upload they're doing, or even web sources or APIs that they're connected with for pulling data from. But it's controlled by the enterprise. So once the data input is controlled, that means they define where the information sources can come in. We can actually go and ensure that the information is carved out from those data sources. And then at the last mile, we then use generative AI, which is how one of the reasons why we can show explainability as well, which is we can precisely tell you every single sentence or every single paragraph that's generated by a system, where it's come from, including tables, including images, where exactly, which sources it has been generated from. We are not at a position where we can actually generate completely new information. We are not in that business because that's also where hallucination also can occur.
But kind of, okay, so, but even with real information, right, you can return the wrong answer. So for example, if you ask ChatGPT, where do I work? You're going to find my previous employer. That's what RAC is, right? So that there's also time dimension, you can get outdated. Imagine that you have several documents and things have been changing, right? Kind of over time, and you might pick the wrong one.
Yeah, so that's a great question. We don't try to read the enterprise or a business user's mind. We are very specific when we do, and which is why we have an implementation process. The truth and what's important for the business or even departments within these businesses are very well governed. Like, for example, as you mentioned, freshness of information is very high for certain type of queries or certain type of research work or workflow they want to explore. For some of the workflow, depth and information that has been there is a factually truth irrespective of temporal factors. So those are things we can actually design in every agent. So a business can define n number of agents in our systems where they can define, okay, this agent is doing this knowledge workflow for us, and that means this is the kind of information. So there was a screen earlier, it was just a second, you may have seen it, but we have very fine grained control on this information retrieval systems, including we have our own ranking and re-ranking models built in over the past 1 year that we've been working with many customers, which helps us tell us that, okay, what is the right combination to use it, which is another, let's call it core capability we've been building in the company, where we understand from actual real life example, what are the right set of profiles that need to be implemented for certain type of business workflows or use cases. So you're right. I mean, this is kind of contained by working with them to define what is important and what is truth and fact for them.
Thank you, Professor Preslow. Dr. Gagan, you have a question?
Yeah, I would like to know if you have benchmarked it on standard data sets, such as Stanford question answering data set and others. Do you have any research papers? Is it shown to be in the state of the art?
So we did. We do have benchmarking. So we do something called MRR benchmarking on the results itself, as well as we do ground truth evaluation on the core model. So what we do is, instead of comparing our results with simply saying, let's compare with GPT-4o what our model says, because we're not a core foundational model building company. We are in the information retrieval and a knowledge work business. What we try and compare ourselves is that if you had the same question coming by giving GPT-4o, a plain vanilla GPT-4o, or any other foundational model like Claude 3.5 or Gemini 1.5, and you provide this information, and then you actually compare with our baseline model that we put in place, even could be GPT 3.5, which is a much lower grade model, and then leveraging our RAG capability, are we getting an answer which is at par, better, or even more relevant for the customer compared to what the standard models, foundation models can give. So that's the key thing about our customers, and you're seeing some of the names, is that they all have AI engineers, and they have thousands and thousands of engineers. They work with us because we specialize in this domain, and we are able to beat the benchmarks that they have, which is why they're ready to spend much higher level dollar value than simply procuring that from from the APIs, which is freely available for everyone.
I don't think it's a complete answer to my question, but it's okay. The other one is that in my experience, retrieving images and complex images and even tables is a difficult task. I mean, most standard GPT models, even 4.0, is not perfect in doing that. So, what is the innovation? I mean, there. I mean, is there any particular thing you've done there?
Yep. So a lot of these models are actually indexed in a very different model and technique rather than using just simply fine tuning on the foundational model itself. Means we actually understand the data in the correctness, in the form and shape it is, and then use semantic extraction to overlay that with, okay, what does this table mean and data mean? So that means we don't lose their sense of what's actually in the models and the data, which happens very often when you actually fine tune these directly into the model itself.
Okay. I think you've not highlighted that in your documents. I mean, like such techniques, or you don't need to reveal all the things, but at least you should highlight what are the strong points which are missing in the existing models, and if even the ChatGPT, and Gemini, what are the capabilities which are lacking there, which you could achieve because of certain things that you did without telling us all the details. So it helps position your work.
I appreciate the feedback. We'll try and see if the committee allows, we can send them updated slides on how we do it, but maybe it's a little too late. But I appreciate the feedback on that. Thank you.
Thank you, Virang, for your time, and wish you the best with the innovations. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.